my head position. Straight line down your partner, just line up his spine. If my head starts getting that side, it's going to be easier for him to roll me, perhaps. Likewise, if my hips come off the floor, although I might put a little bit more weight on him, it's going to be easy then for him to roll me. So keep your hips on the floor on this side. Try and keep your head on this side of his center line. Your toes also. You can try this with your partner. It's typical in all your hold down positions. If I'm just on my shoelaces, on my instep here, I can't push any weight into my partner. All my weight's going straight down into the center of the earth. Whereas if I just put my toes, just simply doing this, I'm pushing with my toes, just a little bit of a calf work, that's not much, doesn't burn any energy. My hips stay on the floor, and there's a big difference. Get your partner to feel that, because it's subtle, but it adds an extra, whatever percentage of weight into his ribs, making it more difficult for him to breathe. But importantly, I'm not lifting my hips off the floor. My hips stay on the floor, and all I do is put my toes on and push with my toes. That little thing will make a difference, and keep your head on this side. Now, the elbow control. The first escape that you'll encounter is always hiding the elbow and turning towards you, little bridge into you, and then a shrimp, and now he's out the back, okay? Or she's out the back. So keep the elbow off the floor. I like using the pinch of the, if the arm is up, I pinch my elbow to my ribs, so it's like already, that's one control, kind of clutching the wrist kind of area, and then underneath the elbow if I can, and don't just hold on with your fingers, fold here, here, and from here. Now for an extra control, I like to grab the inside of my leg. This creates great pressure, and I feel I can get good weight onto my training partner. If you want, you can kind of start to tilt your body a little bit, but be careful putting your head back too far, but a little tilt of your body to put extra weight on his chest. It's very uncomfortable. Some people, if a big heavy person does it, you can often even get a tap from it. But anyways, attacks from here. Options too, as I was saying, the first escape option you'll find from your friends is them trying to pull their elbow down and shrimp and turn, kind of bridge into you a little bit and shrimp at the same time. Go ahead, please. So yeah, exactly, this kind of thing. And what he'll do is he'll try to pull the elbow down. And by doing that, hopefully then they start to make their arm a little bit vulnerable here, okay? Because when it's up here, it's not available to me. But when they start doing that first escape and start pulling it down, beware, of course, of reaching back here with your own arm. Oh, go ahead and can you under me? That's really annoying. So don't let that happen. But keep it here, get in front of it, and then you can start to drive their arm down. From here, either it will go straight or it will bend, okay? If it goes straight, you can maybe, if they're inflexible, maybe you can shove it, maybe you can get a kind of a straight arm submission here, then they'll start to bend their arm to resist that, and then you can go for the ude garami type of shoulder lock. Okay, so yeah, it's essentially they're helping you with it, because if he doesn't want to give me his arm, I'll know I'll get it. But when he starts doing that escape of turning in, there sometimes he'll expose it or bring it down enough that you can get in front of it, drive it down, attack the straight one. When that works or doesn't work, they'll bend their wrist to avoid it. You can go on top. Okay. Alternatively, you can start to, if it's down here somewhere and you're finding you're kind of arm wrestling with them here, step over, drag your heel back, okay? Of course, where the thumb bends is where it will work. So this one, it's avoided by them turning their thumb down and hiding. If that happens, then we look at trapping the arm, okay? So you have a few options with this. So you're here. Note, I have my hand here to trap the elbow, so he can't hide his elbow on me anymore, and I don't have to worry about holding it up with this arm, okay? The elbow comes down, he's starting to work some kind of a shot. He's giving it to me, drive it, try and get the straight one. Remember, whichever way the thumb is pointing, that's the way the elbow opens. So I can grab his wrist, give a little bit of manipulation here. You can try to, sorry. You can try the straight one for sure. Some people though, you'll find you can touch the ground with their hand, it won't work. Some people will work really nicely. Otherwise, you can try a little bit of that. He bends it on top, ude garami. Down this way, maybe you can step over, drag your leg back, and I kind of hip into it a little bit. I can get a kind of a hyperextension of the elbow here. Or if by defending it, they kind of hitchhiker or turn their elbow down and hide it, so be it, we'll just trap it for now. Okay, we try these ones? Okay guys, 1, 2, 3.
I didn't ask him to spray I won't stop for a while. 5 seconds.
quarter past. Okay, there's a lot to do in 1 hour, so that's why I'm firing through. So, whatever way you ended up in Kesa Gatami, a failed guard pass, warm, you know, whichever it is, make sure you're controlling the inside elbow. Get underneath it, and then maybe trap it over with the leg. Okay, be wary though of being too reliant on this, because with the arm trapped here, I've no base on this side. Okay, so for everything there's a disadvantage and an advantage. You know, for this one is good because I still have a base over here. So anyways, on the one we're on right now. So the arm is hidden a little bit from me now, except when he starts to pull the elbow down to do that shrimping out kind of thing, and then the arm can start to become available to me. Be aware, don't be wary, I should say, of reaching back to get the arm. That's a no-no, because, grab my wrist please. That's awful when that happens, so don't be aware of that, okay? Crucifix or something. So anyways, so wait to, you know, put some weight on them, crush them a little bit, and wait till they start doing their escapes and their bridging and their pulling, and the elbow starts to drag in, and now it starts to become exposed to you. Get in front of it, grab the wrist. Nice to control higher up. Yeah, if you're down here, you can still turn the thumb and defend the elbow more easily. You can get a good kind of grip on the wrist here. You can manipulate it and have it pointing the way that you like, okay? Okay, whereas if they start to rotate it, it starts to get tricky on you. Then you can go here, okay? So you have that kind of trifecta of attacks. The straight whack down here, elbow bend, maybe this one here. Keep your hips on, oh, and they hide it on you. Okay, that will happen too. When they hide it on you, what I like to do is this. I start to get my head down really low. And if you notice, I try to turn my friend or my training partner's head with my head. So if his head is this direction, I'll get my own head down low, start to turn the head and push to open up the neck a little bit from here. Now this is, people ask me, oh, is it gi or no gi? I said 90% of it's no, you could do it no gi, but this one, well, you could actually do no gi, but nicer with the gi. Get your fingers deep in your sleeve, make a fist to create a hinge. You can go straight karate chop if you like, but I think a big old fist is best. And get it in front, and then your classic Ezekiel or sleeve choke, sode-guruma as the Japanese call it. Ezekiel, named after a Brazilian judo player, I believe. So it's nice when especially when you've trapped that arm on them, because it's very hard to defend. You can still do it. You can still do it here where you haven't trapped the arm as such. You can do the exact same tactic. Do it here, but it's extra special, I think, when you've trapped their arm and there's very little defense to it. They're my favorite ones, okay? But for sure it can be done with the regular type of setup and just be here and work it in, or trap it, you know, you're doing your whole sequence there, trap the arm, head down, because or else it's hard to dig it in, and if he sees it coming, it's more hard. It might be very hard to get it in, so it's like the best ones are the ones they don't see coming. So drop your head, move your head to get the little bit of space, and it's especially nice as well to open and kind of open up the neck area. Gives you a nice target, and now they can't see what's coming, hopefully, so it's a little surprise. Fingers deep into the jacket, make the hinge with your fist, make another fist, get it onto the trachea ideally, and then a little finish from that one. Okay? You want to try that one real quick? Okay.
Down, you go down.
How would I describe it? It's like a...
Yes.
It's like a pliers or scissors, that type of hinge, and they're inside, their neck's in there, so nutcracker, something like that. Okay, let's do it, guys. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This is a medium. Yeah. Okay. Both are good for sure. It's typical of jiu-jitsu. I've been doing this position since I'm a teenager, and I'm still learning new stuff about it. You know, that's the cool thing about our sport. So, what was I going to say? Keep the elbow off the floor by any means necessary. Up this way, up this way. Submissions we've been looking at. Up, 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 up. Oh yeah, a few people asking me about ideally get it on the trachea. If not, the side of the neck will eventually work too, I guess. Don't be too, you won't win friends with this one, I guess, but it works very well in here and in here, okay? So, next thing, looking at a few main escapes. So, Okay, so the first one that we mentioned already, and this is the one you want to be hitting first, and that's hiding the elbow before your friend gets comfortable. Because once, like for example, Toby gets comfortable, gets all his grips and gets settled in his position, it's going to be really difficult to get out, especially in a hurry. That's why it's so popular in competition in judo, because you've only 25 seconds to escape. Near on impossible when a good person gets all their connections to you. Okay, whereas in jiu-jitsu, we can wait it out, wait until they want to make progress and then start working our escape. But of course, prevention is better than cure. So your first one you want to be looking at is hiding the elbow. So you're going to kind of bridge into the person, drive your elbow in, kind of shrimp out, and now you've escaped out the back. We pretty much covered that, okay? So anytime you feel you're always looking to pull the elbow in, and frame a little bit with the outside arm here. Be wary, of course, of framing with two, because from there, you get caught in that head and arm. So that's why sometimes, you'll see it in self-defense or different things. They use the double frame, and that might be fine. But against a trained grappler, what's going to happen is shove the elbow across, boom, drop the head, and now you're working out of a head and arm. It's even got worse, out of the frying pan into the fire. So don't do that. Here, frame at the outside one. You can get your hips close to, in line with your partner. Start bridging into them, start pulling your elbow out. And that's probably one of your best escapes before they get comfortable, okay? Go ahead, do that like a couple of times each, please. 1, 2, 3. Here you go. Thank you very much. Okay, so as you see, the inside elbow is all important in this position. If my training partner loses it, I'm definitely going to pop out the back. So as soon as someone, or even before they get into the position, and we feel ourselves going into this position already, you're hiding your elbow and turning out. Okay, they've got the headlock, but that means nothing at this stage. You're just going to get onto the back and start to continue, and it gets worse for him as it goes. So the elbow control is very important. So then I find that my friend has adapted, and he won't let me get my elbow no matter what. And either he's got the leg in here, or he's holding my arm so well underneath the elbow that I can't get my elbow to the floor. And this escape isn't working very well for me. However, it's a good pressure to get a reaction out of him too. So he knows that if at any stage he lets go of this elbow or opens a space here, I'm going to do that escape. So that it keeps him giving me a predictable pressure, let's say, or a predictable direction. So I'm bridging in and pulling my elbow to the ground and trying to get myself aligned with him, with our spines in the same line. By doing this, if you're flexible, maybe this is something I meant to mention to all you guys. See the way Toby's knee is up in the air? This is easier for me to catch than if he drops his knee to the mat. Yeah, this is much harder for me to get. This knee in the air, this should be a gift for me, okay? If I'm flexible or have long legs, maybe I can just get it over straight away. However, sometimes you're not, or the person's very big, or this or that. So I find to make it a better angle to try and get the leg on, it often helps to frame with the outside arm. You can grab a belt, grab your trousers, or whatever it is. And I found I kind of just bridge I kind of use this as a little shrimp base. I clamp my hand here as a support. I bridge away a little bit, and remarkably then, no, keep your hips down. Even when he has the knee down, I can almost always find his hip in this position, and I can start to then undermine and underneath or whatever it is, set up your half guard and all that. Okay, so here, if the leg's in the air, the knee's in the air, it's a gift, but he's wise to that. He drops the knee to the floor. I like to find like a belt or something like that, and I find I can kind of bridge away a little bit, and then my heel can usually find their hip. Once you get onto the hip, you can just start to push your leg straight and start to wrap up their leg usually. Okay? So, give that one a try, please. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, leaving up my back.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, there's no perfect escape from this position. Like everything, you need a few different directions. But you'll see that those two, wrapping the leg and hiding the elbow, work quite well together. So, just tie in. It's just like this. So as I was saying, first one, of course, is to bridge in and start to pull your elbow down, trying to get the reaction. Okay. However, he's very tight, won't let you pull the elbow down. Maybe you can hook the leg, maybe you can move away a little bit. I'm going to be shifting to get my foot onto the hip and then shove my leg down and get this out. Maybe you can get my elbow out now. Maybe I can let go and I pop out the back. Or indeed, maybe I can forward hip escape and come out this direction. Either way, once you get here, he's in very hard shape. Okay. However, exactly this happens. As you're being held down and you try this one of chasing the leg and they start to move away from you. This one sometimes works. They make that extreme angle, but they will never make this angle unless you chase this one. Maybe you're almost here and they start to move away from you to avoid this. Okay, so as you're doing this one, move away from me, please, to avoid this. Yeah. You get away from it. Makes quite an extreme angle. And now again, you can bridge in at the same time. This outside angle up. And this one works, it's very satisfying. I wouldn't rely on it 100% of the time, but if they make that hard angle or that big angle to you, it's available, okay? But they won't do it unless you trick them into running away from you. So when you're here, I'm doing my first classic escape, hiding my elbow, pulling in, moving in, trying to catch the leg. This arm isn't like punching anyone or anything, it's just giving it direction, so it'll push like this. And doing just a big sit-up is very difficult. This is quite difficult. So much easier to get your shrimping kind of movement going, okay? So instead of just going here and doing a big sit-up, your abdominals may be very strong, but it's more difficult. Instead, and change your direction. Easy one. Try it out and out, okay? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that last one, some people use pendulum swimming at the legs and it works really well. However, it kind of gives the game away sometimes. I feel that when I start bringing my legs up to do that big pendulum swing, it generates a lot more power, obviously, and you can turn people over, but sometimes I find I lose the element of surprise with it. So I like the one where you just shift and then do a kind of a hip escape to drive across the left. And let me show you. So, like, a couple of people are having trouble with this one. If you're lying right underneath them, you're supporting them, okay? So I'm holding them up. So this one works best when you trick them into making that strong angle away from you. You're trying to get to almost have it, and they make that angle. And you can, start doing, pendulum swings, legs, and all that stuff. But the thing is, it will give the game away a little bit. So I prefer just to get a sneaky little step out of the way. You're going to clip the escape out as I do. It's not too aggressive, but don't have your elbow bent. Drive your elbow straight. Don't have a bent elbow. It's not a frame here. It's a push with the straight arm, yeah? And it will turn the head, and once the head goes, they're definitely gone. But if you don't turn their head, they won't go, and you'll be kind of stuck here, trying to do some amazing sit-up. That'll be really difficult. So you must turn their head to make it work. So straighten your arm when you do it, and also get your hips out of the way. If your hips are in the way, you're doing a big sit-up, too difficult. You need to get your hips out of the way a little bit. I'm getting the hip escape action. Okay? With a straight arm. Straight arm, and you'll have more success with that. If you like doing the pendulum swing, you can do the pendulum swing as well. How you going? I don't like doing it because he feels it too easy for me. Anyways, next one. Try to, as you see, all of them work off the principle of getting them moving. If you don't get them moving, you're just here letting that dead weight bear down on you. It's going to be really difficult, okay? So if you just lie here, It's like everything in jiu-jitsu and nothing. So try and do an escape. And then you relax for a second or two, and you try another escape. You'll never get out. You have to try and chain them together and get the pressures from your training partner that you want to help facilitate the direction you want to escape. So the first one is hiding the elbow, bridging into them and pulling my elbow to the ground, okay? From doing this one, if they start to pull back or to resist the hiding of the elbow, it will start to help the bridge and the rollover. But if I try and do a bridge and rollover just here from nowhere, it can be very difficult, very hard work indeed. So instead, first, I try and get myself with our hips close to each other. I'm trying to pull my elbow out to try to do the first escape of just pulling out my elbow to the floor. When my opponent resists this very strongly, I'm going to try to get myself right beside him and clamp really tightly with my ribs. If I can try and, as I'm shrimping into him, if I can get a little bit underneath, that's even better. See the way I can, when I'm trying to do the first, I'll do it without a partner. Do it without a partner. Oof. Do it without a partner for a second. Whew. Okay, so if I'm flat with both shoulders on the floor, it's going to be really hard to do any of the escapes. So the first escape I keep mentioning is hiding the elbow, is kind of a bridge into the person and pulling your elbow to the floor, okay? And that's the first one we've all been practicing. What you notice is my shoulders off the floor. I'm not shoulder on the floor, I'm pulling just with my arm. It's a turning of my body that's helping me to hide the elbow. So when I have a training partner on top of me, he's trying to pull the elbow up, I'm trying to pull the elbow down, and when I get into this bridging position, sometimes I can do a little kind of bridge forward hip escape underneath. If I can do that, I'm definitely going to bring them under, or bring them over, I should say, because I've got underneath their center of gravity. If I can do that, I know for sure I'll roll them. So it's subtle. I'm doing my first one, which is bridging into my opponent and pulling my elbow down to hide my elbow. When I feel that bit of pressure back pulling into me, I'm going to hip into them a little bit to get myself in underneath. Please. So I'm here, I'm trying to do my first, I'm pulling my elbow in and I'm bridging into my opponent. Now what I'm doing, I'm getting a little bit underneath, and now I'm not trying to bring him this way, but instead my hands are connecting myself to my training partner. I'm trying to bring my hands over my head as I bridge forward. If I can get his head to the mat, then I know I've done it. The rest is done, okay? But if I try and just be here and go and log roll somebody over, I just hurt my own back. You will go nowhere. I'll just exhaust myself. I die tired. So what I'm looking to do is first, I'm bridging into my opponent, trying to pull my elbow through the first escape. I can connect to him here so that I can be connected. I'm trying to get in underneath him, and if I can, I'll bridge in underneath a little bit and have myself a little underneath him. If I can do that, I clamp close so he's connected to me, both feet on the floor, bring my hands over my head. He's in the way, but the direction's going over my head. And my hips above the floor. Don't drop your hips. Now just roll. You can do a nice drill with this too, back and forth into the same position. Anyway, but what I'm trying to say is, chain your escapes together. This will never work if you're just a dead weight and you try and go really hard. You got to break inertia, get them moving. So I'm here. First one, hide the elbow and bridge into him. Try to bridge to get your elbow to the floor. I'm not trying to bridge him over. I'm trying to bridge to pull the elbow out. Bridge, bridge, bridge. Now when I get a little bit into him, I'm going to forward hip escape a little bit. Get myself underneath. And more or less in one movement then, both feet on the floor, clamp, hands over your head, hips up. From here, a lot of people bridge someone up, then they drop their hips again, then they roll them over. Don't do that. Keep them forward. Then from here, start to turn over. And turn this way. Whatever way you want. Something like this. One more time. So, the important thing, hide the elbow, bridge into them. Okay? I'm not trying to roll them, I'm trying to hide my elbow and do the first escape. off the pressure they give me back to resist that, I'm going to bridge in a little bit by forward hip escaping. As opposed to a backward shrimp, there's a forward shrimp. Yeah, so I forward shrimp a little bit. From the forward shrimp, clamp them to you. Both feet are on the floor, bridge up, bringing your hands over your head if they weren't there. That's the direction you're bringing them. Keep your hips in the air, and then from there, roll over your shoulder, bring them over. Easy peasy. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. The reason for bridging your hips is to turn yourself into a ramp, to bring the person's weight forward. Ideally, it's a good sign when their head touches the mat, you know that their weight is forward. So don't try and bring them to the side until you've brought their weight forward. Common mistake with this is to try to roll somebody directly this way. It's nearly impossible, okay? Unless they're tiny and you're huge. It's all about bringing their weight forward, and then the weight is rolling across the line of my shoulders, or the upper line of my shoulders. So, a couple of things. You have to try to load your partner up first. If both of your shoulders are flat on the floor, this is going to be really hard work. What I'm more or less doing is, I'm starting by turning this way into my partner, so it's that this shoulder is off the floor, and I'm pulling my elbow to the ground, okay? But they can either accept that escape of me getting my elbow out, or they'll resist this by trapping the elbow and connecting themselves tighter to me. All right. From here, I'm trying to bridge in more and pull the elbow out, and I'm still. If I turn my back at you guys, you can see I'm not flat on my shoulders. If I'm flat on my shoulders here, it's going to be really hard work to pull the elbow out. So I'm turning, bridging into my partner first, pulling my elbow out. From here, now I'm kind of not flat on my back, but side on. When I'm side on to my partner, now I clamp to them. Now I'm going to forward hip escape. One of the moves you always do in your warm-ups is the forward hip escape. So plant your foot, plant your feet, and now look, I'm starting to come back onto my back, okay? But I'm starting to get underneath the person. From here, both my feet are on the floor, bridge up. I've now turned myself into a ramp to bring their weight forward. Now the roll is easy. You can all do the roll then. It's child's play. Okay? But you're making it more difficult for yourselves by being here and trying to go, never, okay? Or you're bridging the person, letting them come back down again, and then try and roll them. Or you keep both feet on the floor. Turn towards them first, them onto one shoulder. Try and hide the elbow. Try and do the first escape. Whew. When they resist this, now they're connecting tighter to you. You also connect to them and try to do a forward escape. Okay, from here, bridge to get their head to the mat. Keep your hips in the air. Don't just drop down now. Keep them forward. Now I can roll along the line of my shoulders. You can either step your leg over or thread the one through. Whichever one you want for your feet. Now you're to go position. Whew. You guys try it now. 1, 2, 3. Any questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a few ideas for you for Kesa Gatami. It's not exhaustive, of course. There's new stuff. I'm figuring out new things all the time, and I'm sure you will too. But a few ideas for you. Main thing is get them moving, different directions by resisting in one direction to make themselves vulnerable in the other. Classic push-pull, kazushi, whatever you want to call it. So whatever escape you choose to do, make sure you have something in the opposite direction that makes them vulnerable so that you can trick them. Okay, that's the way it all works, rather than just using brute force. And if one doesn't suit you, try the other one and come back to me to see which ones work for you, all right? So thank you very much for giving me your time today, and I appreciate you all coming down. If you catch me on any of the open mats, it'd be my pleasure to try to roll with you or try and go through any of the techniques we did. We've got Michael Courier's class on next, which I'm looking forward to. And thank you for coming. Let's get a quick photograph. It's a novelty for me to have such a big class, so international class. I'm really proud to be here. So thank you very much. Yes.